Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome you here to St. Paul's again for our monthly Jazz Vespers, and congratulations on being here on the right day. Because last time I saw you in this capacity, I told you that it was October the 12th that we would be getting together. And then I was quickly told it wasn't October the 12th, but not in time for you to hear it. So I'm risking telling you that the next time we gather is November the 5th, 9th. Yes, it is the 9th. And, that's looking far too much into the future. We are here to celebrate today Extreme Flute, which it's very kind of Bill McBurney to loan us his brand, because I think that's what he goes by in social media and other places. So did we have to pay a copyright infringement contribution for that? Or anyway, it's my pleasure to welcome Bill McBurney, Tim Shaw, Matt Newton, and Jim Sandilands as our quartet today. And as we gather, let us remember whose territory we stand on. There are glasses up there, Jody. Glasses up there on that tray. We are gathered here at St. Paul's on traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe nations, covered with under the Between the Lakes Treaty Number 3 of 1792 and protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. We're privileged to live and work on this land as guests, and we give thanks to those who were here before us and acknowledge our responsibility to respect and honor the intimate relationship Indigenous peoples have with this land. We seek to embody an anti-racist, anti-oppressive stance and advance action towards Indigenous reconciliation, self-determination, and decolonization in our daily interactions and in our mission and ministries. And we've borrowed and adapted that territorial acknowledgement from McMaster. Welcome, Extreme Flute.
Hi there. There we are. Hang on. So, since I lost my day job, I've been exploring other forms of liturgy, but it took me back to the pandemic. Do you remember the pandemic? Those of you who are at St. Christopher's have heard some of this shtick before. So during the pandemic, Susan and I developed a daily prayer practice based on this book, The Celtic Wheel of the Year by Tess Ward. Tess is an Anglican chaplain who started writing prayers out of her understanding of Celtic spirituality and the fact that not everybody who ends up in hospital goes to church. Who knew? So she adapted prayers and liturgy for those situations and recorded them in this book in a wonderful collection which allows you to pray daily. So I've selected a few of those. I have to warn you, when I do the prayers of the people, well, she gets a little steamy, but you'll have to wait for that. We'll start with a prayer that she has for this season. Blessed be you, holder of the world in your hands. You give to everything a season as we travel on our journey. Stay with us in this season as we take our rest this night. This is a beautiful old ballad, Old Folks. This is a time of year when festivals, secular and non-secular, jump in on each other. The Feast of the Holy Pumpkin is fast approaching, and quickly after it, All Souls and All Saints are coming along. And around that time of year, as the passing of the seasons go, and often as we think of those whom we love but see no more, the passage from Ecclesiastes gets read at funerals and other occasions, and sometimes turned into song. Tess Ward has written a wonderful, I'm going to call it earthy version of this passage from Ecclesiastes. God is mentioned at the beginning, and that's it for God, except as God appears to us in the seasons. Loving God, you have loved me through every season, from the time of my birth until my time to die. Walk with me in my season this day, for you know there is a time for wounding and a time to heal, a time to mourn and a time to celebrate, a time to be creative and a time to survive, a time to surrender and a time to rebel, a time to embrace and a time to be self-contained, a time to speak and a time to keep silence, a time to be there and a time to stay away, a time to take charge and a time to let be, a time to reach beyond and a time to consolidate, a time to moderate, and a time to be outrageous, a time to be anxious, and a time to be at peace, a time to stay and a time to move on, a time to care and a time to be cared for, a time to generate and a time to lose, a time to love and a time to let go. In our house, we have angel cards. Do some of you know what I'm talking about? There are little cards with words on them that go in a bowl, and they come with a little bell that you ring. And you pick a card, and it's meant to tell you the angel that you'll be dancing with that day. And so we like to open these cards when our grandkids are around, and we did that this morning. I got humor, I think. Oh no, Jeremy got humor. I got beauty. Forget what Susan got, but one of them was surrender. And Jeremy said, "Oh, that can't be good." Because for him, surrender was not a good thing. Well, there was the start of a conversation with a 7-year-old, if ever you wanted to have one. But I did my level best to say that sometimes surrender isn't a bad thing. Talk to me afterwards about what you might have said. So, this is an obligatory tune for this time of year, Autumn in New York, and because Tess said that we should be creative, we're going to do it as a bossa nova. And Bill is going to set the tempo. I surrender. Okay, 8 bars, you and me, Matt. Over C, maybe him too. Over C? Yeah. Yeah, I promise you it was really good, but now I can't find it in this book. Well, this'll do. But it's not as steamy as the other one. Embracer of all who held out your arms and joined up the circle of life, embolden me to believe that my lessening will bring new growth this day. Embolden me as I cut back the branches and trust the bud will come. Embolden me as I sweep the leaves and make a pathway through. Embolden me as I clear a space and allow my autumn work to unfold. Embolden me as I sit in the silence and let you be the all in all. For in the pounding of the grain, in the sharing of the bread, in the crushing of the grape, in the pouring of the wine, in the falling of the leaves is the feeding of the roots. In the disappearing of the creatures is the survival of their kind. In the cutting of the corn is the new seed that will rise again. In the dying time and darkness is your promise of hope renewed. For you have lain in the deathly grip and felt the power of love's release. Release in me the power of love as I set out this night. Release in me your love. Yeah. On our walk with Naomi and Jeremy, we noticed that the bees were still active, especially around the lavender, which crops up in parts of our neighborhood. And Susan commented that the bees are getting old and are dying. And Naomi commented that she didn't want the bees to get old and die. Me too. This is a great autumn tune to go with that autumn prayer, Autumn Leaves. Okay, Bill, you're not getting away with it. You have to start. Do you want me to have another look for the steamy bit? Not steamy. Sorry to disappoint You'll have to make your own steam later. Divine wonder, source of the patterns in all my systems and workings, let me honor all my body does this day. Gratitude for the sleep that rests and replenishes. Gratitude for my breathing and rising and taking it for granted. Gratitude for the soap from plant and the washing of my skin. Gratitude for the pleasure of eating delicious offerings of nature, for the excreting of my body, the earth's receiving of my waste. Gratitude for the joy of touching another's body in kiss or handshake, in the affection of children, or the cling of love's exchange. Gratitude for my well-being, mobility, and health. Mercy on my ill health, my disablement, and all that I struggle with this day. For you hold my bodily being until I let go into the divine embrace. May I respect the miracle of my body and set forth this day. Amen. Celtic Wheel of the Year, Tess Ward. It's getting kind of ancient and venerable now. I think this was written in the 80s, maybe? So every time a flute appears, Bill McBurney can attest to this, somebody will say, "Do you know Swingin' Shepherd Blues?" And I think every time Bill has played Jazz Vespers, which is going on for, I don't know, a couple of decades now, I've told that story and made Bill play Swingin' Shepherd Blues. Do you know it?
I was forgetting.
That was a lot of fun for a bass player like me. Mr. Tim Shaw on drums there, everybody. Matt, if you weren't at the Rex last week, you missed him. Newton, Matt. And Bill McBurney. If you were looking for him at the Pilot, he was at the Rex. Night Train is an awful lot like Swing. No, anyway. We have time for a blessing and a tune, I figure. We good? Thank you all for coming out, all you familiar and friendly faces. Next November the 9th will be Jake Wilkinson on trumpet will be with us. Matt will be back on piano. Tim Shaw will be in Saskatoon. Pray for him. In his place will be Andrew Scott, and I will be the usual suspect on bass. For those of you who are interested in Charlie Brown will be here in December, the something. So closer to the date, we'll figure that out and let you know what it is. Thank you again for coming out. Thank you for Jody for bringing water and refreshments. For Malcolm in the back, give Malcolm a round of applause in the back. And for Terry and the people of St. Paul's who welcome us back, despite the fact that we keep coming. Okay, Night Train is not written by Horace Silver. Bill told me who it is written by, but I don't know.
Jimmy Forrest.
There you go.
Jimmy Forrest.
Okay. May God defend us on every side. May the pleasures of our life, the steamy and the not so steamy bits, enfold us with love and grant that we may live into the love that is made known to us in the good earth and in each other and in the Son of God, the child of God, Jesus the Christ. Amen. Night. I could see you thinking
You probably could also do this. We'll put it there.
Sure.
Okay. Go ahead. Just straight.
Sorry?
Straight. Okay. Let me count up.
Despite that, give it up for Bill McCarthy. Pat Newton. My brother, Jim Shaw. And he turned the light.
Once again, welcome. Thank you for being here. We do have opportunity to gather together with one another at the back. Thanks to Jody for providing us with refreshments. And yeah, here. And by my calendar, we're getting together next on November 9th for Jazz Vespers. And then, unless I'm corrected, it's December 14th for the Charlie Brown Christmas. But I have been corrected in the past, so take care and good night.